and welcome
to Nightmare Nation,
a podcast where we talk about haunted places around the world.
And scary things.
And the ghosts that inhabit the haunted places.
And Ouija boards that people play with.
And seances and demons.
And witches.
And sometimes true crime.
Yes.
If murders lead to places being haunted, we'll talk about murder.
Murder.
Or just death in general. It doesn't have to be murder, necessarily.
Yes.
All things morbid.
It's our favorite.
Yes.
It's the best. It's so entertaining.
What were you about to say?
I don't know.
Sweet. I feel like we're smiling so hard right now. We're like,
we're just so excited to be recording for you guys right now.
You guys, this is the highlight of my week. I get to talk about haunted things with my best friend.
Yes.
It's the best.
It's so great. And especially with everything going on in the world.
Oh my
we
God.
just need a fun outlet
It's
to express all of our excitement and joy and not have negativity.
As important as it is to be aware of what's going on around you and to be empathetic and try to feel the pain that people are feeling, it's okay to take little breaks to restore your mental health.
Absolutely.
If we all just lost our goddamn minds, we wouldn't be able to help anybody or do anything productive.
So please keep your mental health in check, friends.
Yes.
And love each other and be kind.
Be kind to each other.
And understand others' point of views. You don't necessarily need to accept them or agree with them. But just, it's okay to disagree.
Yes.
So just love each other.
Yep.
Please. I love everyone. Except for murderers.
But I'm like,
I should say serial killers.
Well, I'm also fascinated by them though. So I love them in the, not that I think they're nice people and I admire them, but I love reading about them because it is quite interesting.
Because their brain, what goes on in it.
That's probably why we were both psych majors.
Yeah.
Abnormal psychology was
oh
my
God.
favorite class in the whole world.
That was the best class ever.
It was so good.
So good. Well, friends, my name is Anna.
I'm Annie.
And we're here tonight to bring you to London.
To our favorite place across the Atlantic.
The United Kingdom.
The UK.
The UK.
Oh my.
Should we?
I am not even going to
go into a southern accent.
No, do not do that.
It's
you are further banned from trying southern accents forever. You're done.
I keep our listeners entertained with my copious amounts of terrible, terrible accents.
But that's it. Yes, they're fun. We appreciate you and your ability to do them poorly.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I really wish that we would have had a chance to do the same London trip for show choir that our siblings did.
Yeah, such bullshit.
Our brothers got to go to London just cause for choir.
You're welcome, Andy.
I mean, I guess we did go to
Italy.
Rome, so that's pretty cool.
I mean,
But I also wanted to go to London.
Yeah, well, you know what? I wanted to go to fucking Ireland. Because we would have been there during goddamn St. Patrick's Day, and everybody's, Italy, I want to go to Italy. I'm like, no! No!
I forgot Ireland was even an option.
Yeah.
No!
God, I wanted to go to Ireland so bad!
It was pretty fun.
It was
We were there over Halloween. We didn't do anything for Halloween, but we were there for Halloween. So London.
Okay, so we're in London. Back to London.
Yes, we are. London. Specifically... The Tower of Terror.
London.
No. Well, actually, it essentially is a Tower of Terror. Because there's so many freaking
so
ghosts.
many things.
And horrible deaths. But yes, the Tower of London.
Oh, you guys, there's so much history in this place, okay?
Yeah, because everywhere in Europe is a billion years older than everything in the US.
Yes.
Because they actually have been around before the 1700s.
They had all sorts of fights, and people were fucking weird in the medieval times and just killed everybody for stupid shit, and people did weird things.
So, if you've seen Game of Thrones...
Yes.
Then you know exactly what happened.
So I'm going to try not to bore you with the history, but obviously there is all sorts of history. Because this place was built in 1078.
Jesus!
So,
I didn't know it was that old.
There's a lot of history
But there's also lots of, executions and deaths, so that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah.
So the Tower of London... Its official name. Did you catch her official name? The official name of the Tower of London is Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London.
Wow, that's a long name. And I'm sure no one actually calls it that.
That's why they call it the Tower of London.
Her Majesty's... I already forgot what you said.
Yep,
it's too long.
It's okay.
It's too long.
It's all right. So it is a historical castle, if you have not caught our drift.
What? I had no idea it was a palace or a castle or a tower that had history. I had no idea.
Only that it was built in 1078.
Right.
It's located on the north bank of the river Thames.
Thames?
Thames? Thames?
Thames.
Thames.
Thames. I bet that's it.
Yes.
Thames.
Exactly. In central London. It was founded towards the end of 1066 as part of the Norman conquest of England. Not going to bore you with what that is because I don't know what it is, and I don't think you want to know what it is.
I got a bunch of dudes named Norman
Probably
decided to invade and took over.
Yes.
It's just Normans everywhere.
Normans all everywhere.
Norman freaking Bates.
Oh, God, such a good show.
Yep, it's so good.
So good. Please
and then
go watch it.
He got reincarnated as the Norman Bates in Bates Motel.
Exactly, and Psycho.
You guys didn't know that, but he actually dates back to the Norman conquest.
Yes, everyone is... I was going to say incarcerated, but that's not the right
Almost. In fact, he wasn't incarcerated and should have been reincarnated.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got
That's
you.
what I was looking for.
Yeah, you're good.
So the tower was built by William the Conqueror in 1078 and the tower was a represented symbol of oppression inflicted upon London by the new ruling elite.
Those rich bastards.
Such assholes.
Those people who like
living
to eat their
lives and
cake eaters.
Such cake eaters.
I think that's like a French thing, right?
I have no idea.
Oh, probably.
We're gonna
probably just made that up, and I'm gonna look like a fool.
That's fine.
Okay.
So early on, the tower was used as a grand palace for royal residence. And then from 1100 to 1952, the tower was used as a prison. So it's a very, very long time to be a prison.
Yes.
But during the time of it being a prison, so many things happen. So many wars and people dying and executions.
It was a harsher time.
Yes.
A harder period of life where death was just...
inevitable.
Kind of the thing that you did.
Pretty much.
Oh, someone pissed you off, you get him executed.
Yep.
You throw him in prison.
Because, they did this to me, but in reality they didn't do anything, but you just got pissed and you wanted to kill him.
Or like they were the great-grandnephew of some dude who like challenged your claim to the throne 50 years ago, so you had him executed.
Yeah.
Like fucking Cersei Lannister.
Yep.
Just anyone who crosses you, just executed.
God, I hate her so much.
I know. We're rewatching Game of Thrones right now, and I'm just like, no.
She's such anger.
She just blew up the sept and killed my favorite character of all time, Marjorie Tyrell. I loved her.
She's so great.
She's so great, and she's so pretty and talented, and just, I love her character. She's so smart and just, like, clever, and they fucking blew her up.
Killed her! Ben and I were talking about that earlier today, because we're watching The Walking Dead, and there's a character in there who doesn't fucking die. His name is Negan, and he's just...
Negan?
Yeah. He's an asshole, and I hate him.
Stupid name.
So much. And he's like my Cersei in Game of Thrones.
Got it.
And he just doesn't die, and you just love to hate them, and you just hate them. You just hate them.
You love to hate them.
God, just so much anger. So the tower is a complex of several buildings set within two concentric rings of defensive walls and a moat. So it's not just one tower. It is multiple towers.
It is, and I'll talk about a bunch of them with all the ghosts.
Well, don't you worry, because the buildings include... I didn't go over all of the buildings.
Great.
I just did, like,
there's too
central
many.
locations and what they were kind of used for. So most of the locations are used for, like, housing people. So we have the White Tower, which is a keep, and is the strongest structure and contained lodging and is suitable for the lord. The innermost ward encloses an area immediately south of the White Tower, and it was used, of course, as lodging when the White Tower was at full capacity, and some part served as a private residence for the Queen and King, respectively. And then there is the inner ward, not the innermost, but just the inner.
The inner ward.
Inner ward.
Yes.
Provided positions from which flanking fire, which is essentially a military formation when, like, outsiders are trying to shoot at your enemy, and they were able to set up properly to be able to fire back to the enemy in case anybody decides they want to fire upon them.
Great.
Yes. You are getting a hardcore history lesson tonight, friends.
Yes. Military Tactics 101.
Yes.
Yep.
We know all of them.
Yes, we do.
So.
Please reach out and ask for more information.
Please don't.
We'll copy-paste stuff from Google.
Yes. Thank you, Google. And then there's the Outer Ward, which had first-class lodging and the Royal Mint, was in this area as well.
Is that where they, like, made gold and silver and
Correct.
stuff? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I don't remember who it was that decided to bring it in, but he wanted a safe spot for the mint to be able to produce more coins, and so they decided to keep it in the castle.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's coincidentally also where they grew all their mint for making mojitos.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All of those mojito drinks.
Yeah, you know how much they love those in old London.
Yes.
1100 AD, yeah.
Yep.
It's a very popular drink.
I mean, they are delicious.
They are delicious.
So, during its history, it was besieged several times, and controlling it has been important to controlling the company.
Company.
Fucking Jesus. The country!
Gotta protect the company's best interests. You
know. So, has multiple rulers, all going back and forth, many people controlling it. Not going to go into it because it's just too much information.
I imagine it's got to be sort of like the parts in the Bible where it's like 19 pages of, and then Abraham's son was blah, 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 who was father of Moab or whatever, and then they just like literally go like
Pretty
for
much.
like 500 freaking lines
Pretty
of like
much.
every single person whose son had a son.
Yep.
And just names.
It's like this queen decided to die, so then this person took over, but then the triad, or I don't know, decided to come in, and it's just a hot mess
It's
express.
Too many people.
So many things.
The Hot Mess Express. Oh my god, I love that so much.
So the tower has served as an armory, a treasury, a menagerie, which if you don't know what that is essentially a home of wild animals. So there was a king who decided that he wanted to house wild animals. So he was gifted a pale bear, which they think it was a polar bear. And then 3 years later received an elephant.
That is so crazy to me, just picturing an elephant, like, living...
Just hanging out in a castle.
In a castle. Like, obviously not inside of, like, a bedroom, but, like, still in its own little, like, enclosure in a castle.
Yep.
So that's so sad for those animals.
I know. They're just stuck.
And they probably were not treated well, I have to imagine.
Oh, God, no.
No.
It was also the home of the Royal Mint, a public record office. So the only reason why they started using it is because they used to travel with their documents, but they had too many documents that came through, so they needed a place to store it. So they decided to use this castle to store their documents.
Cool.
So just in case you want to know about that.
That's my favorite part of the history so far, is important document storage.
Document storage is the most important storage and piece of history
fascinating.
Ever.
Tell me more about document storage.
I don't, because I don't have any more.
What's the proper temperature to store an old document?
52 degrees.
Great.
It really keeps its composure together. And there's no rips or tears. The ink is able to stay proper.
Only at exactly 62% humidity.
Correct.
In a medium lit to dark room.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's why they hid it in the castle.
Duh.
Because
in
it's
a damp
dark
dungeon.
Yes.
Yes. Did you say DARP?
I mean, it's a total possibility that I did. I don't know.
You have to go back and check. I really thought I heard DARP, but I could be wrong.
Well, the way my words are coming out tonight, it's totally possible. And it is also the home of the crown jewels of England. So in the early 14th century, until the reign of Charles II, a procession would be led from the Tower to Westminster Abbey on the coronation of a monarch.
Oh.
And then in the absence of a monarch, the constable of the Tower is in charge of the castle and was a powerful and trusted position in the medieval period.
A constable.
A constable.
So it's kind of like the, I'm trying to relate it to Game of Thrones, when like the kings die and then Cersei takes over. Queen Regent.
Yes.
Kind of like Queen Regent, like a stand-in ruler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they just switched rulers and people all the time.
Yeah. So the constables had very important jobs then. They were frequently needed.
Correct.
Okay.
So then in the late 15th century, the castle was the princes in the tower, which is an expression referring to Edward the fifth, but then I read somewhere later on that I think it was supposed to be the 6th because it was a VI. Yeah,
VI would be 6th.
I think it's the 6th, and I may have written this down wrong.
Okay.
And Richard of Shrewsbury, which is the Duke of York.
Shrewsbury?
Shrewsbury. Shrews.
I'm picturing like a little village of shrews. Just like little baby shrews hanging out and running around. Huts.
Yes.
Yep, I bet that's it.
It is. So a little history with this, and a little bit of murder. Was with the death of Edward in 1483. His son was only 12, and he appointed his brother Richard as Lord Protector, and placed the boys. I was a little confused because he said he only had one son, but then he said boys, but Richard was supposed to protect them, so I don't know if he also died with them.
Well, I think it's confusing because I think you're talking about Edward and Richard, the two princes that were like sent to the tower, but so there was two Richards involved, which is confusing. I wrote this down. So there is Prince Richard and Prince Edward.
Yeah.
And Edward is the nephew of Richard, the Duke of
York.
But then I also wrote Duke of Gloucester.
Maybe there's a different.
So maybe there's a lot of Richards. Too many Richards.
So many Richards.
Too many.
Oh man.
So I think Richard and Edward are nephews of Richard the Duke.
Okay, so then that would be the two boys.
The two boys would be the two young princes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I think
we're just going to go with that and hope for the best.
Great.
Because we weren't there to witness this.
No, we weren't.
So it is widely accepted that sometime during the fall of that year, the two princes were quietly murdered and no one knows who did it. The prime suspect was Richard III, who had invalidated his nephew's claim to the throne and had himself crowned king in July of 1483. So then in a while later, they never found the bodies. They never, the kids just completely disappeared. They couldn't find anything. So then in 1674, a group of people were set to demolish what remained of the royal palace because I think during some sort of war it demolished and whatever, so they needed to rebuild. And the workmen found a wooden chest containing two skeletons, and their height coincided with the age of the two princes when they disappeared.
Yeah, I read about that. That's so sad.
That's so sad.
And I didn't know they were found in a chest, though. That's so creepy.
Yeah,
because then
shoved them in a spot and just, no, fuck you.
Well, because if they're in a chest, then it kind of implies that inherently foul play was involved, because if you just found the two skeletons, it's possible that maybe they got trapped somewhere and died of starvation or something, it got stuck somewhere or died some other way, but in a box.
Yeah, they were intentionally
sounds
placed
like
there.
Murder. And clearly you're trying to hide the bodies.
Oh
so
yeah.
That's so
sad.
They
were killed.
Little babies.
So then in the 16th and 17th century, this was the peak period of the castle's use of the prison. So the monarch used the castle to imprison people for various reasons. However, they were usually high-status individuals, and they were held there for short periods rather than having the common citizens come in, since they had other jails for them.
This is the fancy political rival jail.
Exactly.
Yep.
Some people who were kept in the prison during this time were Elizabeth I, I'm assuming, before she became queen, Sir Walter Raleigh, thank you.
He was a writer,
no,
in case you didn't know.
I did not know that.
Yep.
And Elizabeth Throckmorton. And a little fun fact, the prisoners were able to make their lives easier by purchasing amenities such as better food or tapestries through the lieutenant of the tower. I don't know how that works or how they got money.
Do they mean as bribes, or there's a legit prison cafe system?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I would assume bribes.
All right.
That would be my best guess.
That makes more sense than we also have additional things available for purchase should you need additional comforts during your stay.
Yeah, I don't think that was it.
It's a hotel or something.
No,
you pay extra for some room service.
I don't think that was it.
Probably not.
Nope. Let's see, where am I? Okay. So the tower also had a reputation as a place of torture and death.
Yes!
That was popularized by the 16th century religious propagandists. And 19th century writers, when only 7 people were executed within the tower before the World Wars.
So they, like, wanted to make it seem more scary and spooky to, like, be like, don't mess with England, we'll torture you.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
I mean, a lot of people were tortured, but only 7 executed.
Okay, yeah, but they essentially wanted to scare people.
Correct.
Was the goal. Okay,
yep.
That makes sense.
So executions were more commonly held on the notorious Tower Hill to the north of the castle, with 112 occurring there over the 400-year period, which doesn't make sense because that contradicts what I just said before. Oh, wait, no.
Well, they can be held there, right?
112 occurring there in the 400-year period. That's all. Because I don't think they executed people during the World Wars.
Probably not.
And that many people? Maybe?
Maybe the 7 people that were executed before the World Wars were, like, in a shorter window than the window you had just previously referenced.
That could have been.
Maybe in the years immediately leading up to the war, the executions had gone down. So they were like, hey, remember, we executed a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're scary. I don't know.
Wikipedia. It's my source.
Way to go, Wikipedia. You
Get your shit together, please.
Just kidding, we love you. Please supply us with more information.
That's where I get all my information.
You're keeping our podcast alive.
Pretty much.
Essentially.
So between 1540 and 1640 was the peak of imprisonment. There were 48 recorded cases of the use of torture. The 3 most common forms used were the infamous rack, which was a torture device consisting of a rectangular wooden frame with a roller at one or both ends. So the victim's ankles were fastened to one roller and the wrists were chained to another. And there was a ratchet mechanism that you would crank, and the chains would slowly put pressure on the joints because they're pulling you in opposite directions. And eventually your joints would be dislocated and tendons in the body could be ripped.
Oh my god, I can just hear them, like, popping.
Yep. And after tendons rip so far, they can't go back into place.
They can't be unripped.
Yep. And so then you can't do anything.
I just picture you being like Gumby then, just like a real floppy
essentially. Or like Harry Potter when he loses his arms and it's just like a floppy nothing. It's just disgusting. Ew.
So
You're
gross.
welcome. And then there was the Scavenger's Daughter, which I was like, what the fuck was that?
That's the name of a torture device?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it is a frame-shaped metal rack. Oh, I'm sorry. It's an A-frame-shaped metal rack, so it's in the shape of an A.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
The head was strapped to the top point of the A, so it had like a little circle thing that went around your neck. I had to like look it up to see how it actually worked, because after reading it, I was super confused with it. So then the hands are at the midpoint, right at the mid of the A, and the legs are at the lower spread end of the A.
Yes.
But it's not like the size of a person. It's really small. So then when you're in this, it can fold down, forcing the knees, forcing your head down and the knees up into a sitting position, compressing the body so as to force the blood from the nose and ears. So essentially, you're like in it isn't like this.
It basically
like
turns you into a little cramped ball.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
That sounds
I'll post a picture
fun.
of what it looks like. So they would just get to sit in that for, who knows how long.
Great. So glad
Super
torture is
fun.
not legal anymore.
Right?
That's
oh, God.
awful.
Yep. So, one person, Anne Boleyn, was one that was executed in the prison. Her story was very confusing, and there were a lot of different components, so I'm just going to try and sum it up as best as I can. I probably got some of it wrong, and I just kind of, made up my own thing that I thought was right, so we're just going to go with it.
Go for it.
So she was the Queen of England from 1533 to 1536, and was the second wife of King Henry VIII. So after their marriage, they decided that they wanted to have a baby, because obviously he wants his name and an heir to the throne. And they had a girl. But obviously King Henry wanted a boy.
That selfish bitch. How dare she give birth to a female.
God, asshole.
Uh-huh.
So they kept trying to have more babies, and Anne had 3 miscarriages and never produced a boy, and Henry was done trying with her. He's just like, fuck you.
You're done.
I want a boy. I'm done with you. This is bullshit. So he found another female called Jane Seymour and decided that he wanted her. And he said that he was seduced into marrying her.
Okay, because that's how life works.
Yep.
He
was just like under a spell, essentially,
yes.
and he just married her because
I'm so sexy, let's get married right now.
Yep.
It's like, I can't help it, let's get married. We have to.
Like, that's such bullshit.
I can't control myself. Like, what? That's not how that works.
No, it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So he obviously wanted to get rid of her, and so in order to divorce her, in quotes, he put her on trial and accused her of adultery, incest, and high treason.
Incest? Why?
I don't know.
Rub salt in the wound, why
right?
don't you?
Exactly.
That's rude.
So when she was taken into prison, Anne watched as 5 alleged lovers were led to their deaths on Tower Hill on May 17th.
Like her fake lovers that she was accused of?
Yes.
Those poor dudes!
So I'm assuming you just went around like, oh yeah, this is probably these 5, even though, he did the exact same thing and was being seduced by this Jane.
Yes, but he has a penis. Therefore,
obviously,
he's a more important human and gets to make all the calls. And the rules don't apply to him.
That's bullshit.
Yes.
Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there were multiple times when I was reading that Anne walked in on Jane, like, sitting on top of him, seducing him, and, like, flirting with him. I'm like, ooh, who do you think you are, Henry? Who do you think you are?
And Anne was probably graceful and gracious and probably, like, closed the door and, like, let them be and was probably super nice about it. And she
actually, no.
Oh, no.
There was one time she got real pissed and Jane had a necklace on and she ripped it off of Jane.
Good for her.
Yep.
That seems pretty tame given the circumstances.
Like, been pissed,
ripping off
bitch, please get the fuck off my man.
Yeah.
I'ma kill you.
Seriously.
Oh, gosh. Were you going to say something?
I was thinking about it, but it's okay.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say there's a movie starring Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson called The Other Boleyn Girl. That's about Anne Boleyn.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
and she has a sister. And it's like this historical romantic drama movie from like 2005 or something.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep. You're welcome.
Now you all know and you go watch it.
Yes. Natalie Portman's great. Go watch her movies.
She's so great. I love her. She's so
best.
cute.
She's so pretty.
And she's so funny.
Black Swan is
my
favorite movie of all time.
So much.
It's so good.
Gosh.
Oh.
Okay. So Anne, was put to death by beheading and is buried in an unmarked grave in the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula.
She didn't even get a marked grave?
No.
Those assholes.
Yep.
What the hell? She was Queen of England.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Like, nope, you were an adulterer.
Adulterer. You can add that to our list alongside brewery and burial. Which I struggle with every time. Rural.
I hate the word borrowers.
I remember you saying
that one is very difficult. Borrowers.
Yes.
For a long time, it came out bowels. Sound like a dog.
Moo.
Oh my god. So, then during the First and Second World Wars, the tower was obviously, again, used as a prison, and 12 men were executed for espionage.
Spies!
After some damage that happened to the tower that was endured during the Second World War during the Blitz, which is a German bombing campaign against the United Kingdom from 1940 to 1941, it was eventually restored and reopened to the public. And today, the Tower of London is one of the country's most popular tourist attractions, and the property is cared for by the Charity of Historic Royal Palaces and is protected as a World Heritage Site.
Yes!
And you can go do tours.
That's awesome.
So,
cool.
We're going to London.
You gotta go and take pictures with the dudes in the red vests and the towel hats.
Yeah.
Towel hats. Why did I say that so weird? The dudes with the tall hats. And then trying to see if you can make a move.
That sounds perfect.
Yes, doesn't it though? So, yes, lots of notable executions and lots of prisoners.
All of
and
the deaths.
Death and murders.
Murders.
So, when you throw all those things together in a pot and give it a stir, what do you get?
Ghosts!
Yeah, you do. And there's like 50 billion of them.
Yay!
So,
this is so exciting.
So what I'm going to do is essentially take you on a kind of like mental like tour in your brains by describing
Yes. Story time.
I'm such a good tour guide. Basically, I'm going to talk about all the different places in the tower.
Basically, you should probably just go work at this Tower of
Probs,
London and then just give them the tour because now you know everything.
To be fair, I did steal most of this information from londonwalkingtours.co.uk where they literally talk about like if you were going on a tour, here's kind of the natural progression and here's what you might see in all the different places.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to verbally regurgitate all of that to you now.
Perfect.
So get on your imagination caps and
imagination cap is on.
Let's just pretend we're all doing a walking tour of the Tower of London, shall we?
Close your eyes and enjoy the ride.
Great. I didn't actually write down what the starting point is.
Well,
I think it's the toppling tower.
How am I supposed to start?
Picture
my imagination head without a starting point.
We're going to start in the toppling tower.
This is the worst tour.
It's the best. Don't critique me. I will kick your ass.
Kick it.
Okay, toppling tower.
Toppling tower.
In my head, I'm picturing lots of crumbling.
Toppling tower.
Yes, exactly. And it's toppling, and there's toppling stones, and it's crumbling.
So many topplings.
Just, yeah.
Is it toppling?
I think it is. It's called the toppling tower.
Okay.
So, okay. Cool. So we're gonna move from the toppling tower to the Wakefield Tower.
What happened to the toppling tower?
Nothing. We're moving on.
Okay. All right, toppling tower. You did us good.
That's where we started.
Okay.
And as we move to the Wakefield Tower.
As we move to the Wakefield Tower.
Note on your left. The historic. Yeah, we're not doing that. Okay. Okay, so people often report moving between the towers, an eerie aura, and feelings of isolation and coldness as you turn to go through the staircase that connects the two buildings.
Before you know, it's just a castle, and castles are cold.
It could be drafty. It could be a ghost.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. To be determined never. In Anna's famous last words.
Yes!
Okay.
Okay.
So now we're in the Wakefield Tower.
Mm-hmm.
So the ghost of Henry VI has often been seen here. Okay. So he was imprisoned in the tower after being deposed from the throne and died there in 1471 at age 49. Mm-hmm. Some believe he was murdered. But it's not proven.
Of course not.
He's reported to appear and pace fitfully around the room on the anniversary of his death every year.
He just gets so pissed that he died.
And he just like storms around the room and having a little temper tantrum. So he appears just before midnight and usually disappears when the last stroke of midnight chimes. So he's only there for a short little while. And can you imagine how freaking creepy that would be? It's like dark, it's midnight, you're hearing the like probably many ancient clocks going like gong and doing all the 12 strokes of midnight.
And, just see
and the fucking ghost of Henry VI. Did I say 6th? Yes.
He's just sitting there pacing back and forth because he's just pissed.
And then he's poof, gone at midnight.
Gone.
Yep. Yep. So, moving on to the Salt Tower.
Does it have salt?
Maybe.
Is it made of salt?
Well, it used to be the tower's darkest, dankest dungeon, so maybe there's like...
Darkest, dankest dungeon!
Darkest, dankest dungeon. Say that 50 times in a row. And maybe, I mean, you said people could like buy amenities. Maybe they got to like purchase salt for their food.
Ooh, maybe.
In the Salt Tower.
Delicious.
So they get to season it.
A little
instead
salt
of
rock.
Eating gruel.
I love gruel.
I bet that's why they call it the Salt Tower.
Maybe.
So, visitors who end up alone in this tower often report being surprised by a, quote, mysterious yellow glow that gets brighter and brighter and fills the room. So they say that they hear whispers murmuring what sounds like people praying, like quietly whispering prayers in the background, which like freaking terrifies me just to imagine like someone praying. Yeah. And then they feel cold touches on the backs of their necks like icy fingertips.
Oh no.
Yep.
Gross.
Moving on to the Martin Tower.
Martin Tower.
So there's a famous story from 1817 where the keeper of the crown jewels was sitting down to eat dinner when his wife screamed.
Oh.
Because she saw a, quote, glass cylinder filled with a bluish-white fluid that had appeared in the room and was floating around the room.
Or maybe you're just fucking high on something.
Well, it's so weirdly specific. It's not like you see a floating lantern or a candle or
it's
like
a blue-green liquid in a canister.
I'm picturing like a vase filled with Drano or something. Like what? I don't...
Pretty much.
And it's, like, floating around the room.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I don't know if, like, they just, like, wrote this story down in, like, one of the old pieces of parchment that's kept in your document storage area or what. But, like, this is from 1817. Like, what?
That's debatable.
So what would a bluish, whitish liquid be back from that time? Like...
maybe some type of wine they were trying to make.
Oh, nasty wine.
I don't know.
Rotten milk.
Delicious.
With blue cheese.
My favorite. It's a delicacy during those days.
Delicious. So the cylinder apparently floated behind the jewel keeper guy's wife, and she then screamed that something had seized her, and the jewel keeper jumped up and threw his chair at the apparition, which then moved towards the window and disappeared. So...
Oh my.
Very strange.
That's really odd.
I don't know.
I don't like that.
Many visitors of this tower feel unseen hands pushing them down the stairs as they leave the tower.
Well, what asshole?
Just
trying
like
to kill him?
giving him a shove.
Yeah,
I know. Like,
get out of my castle.
What a bunch of dicks. Like, move on. Go to the next tower. Get out of here.
Go away.
Gotta do my science experiments with my blue-white fluid cylinders. Moving on to the White Tower.
Oh, the White Tower.
The White Tower is home to a ghost named, of course, the White Lady.
Oh, man. White Lady's all over the place.
White Lady in the White Tower. So she's been seen standing in the windows, waving to groups of children who walk by. And she also likes to drift silently around the rooms in the tower.
I want to drift.
Yeah, she's just like a super graceful,
I'm the cool
wispy,
ghost.
drifting lady.
So fancy.
I'm picturing like a tattered train of her white dress behind her. And
just like blowing in the wind,
yes.
her hair blowing behind her.
She could be a model.
Mm-hmm.
So this is super crazy. So some guards and visitors have smelled... So I think St. John's Chapel is also in the White Tower.
Mm-hmm.
So some guards and visitors have smelled an overwhelming odor of cheap perfume.
Oh.
I don't know how you know it's cheap.
Right.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it just smells gross.
Yeah, well, they say it's so strong that it's actually caused some people to actually vomit. They just have this, like, horrible reaction to it because the smell is so strong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And, like, I could get how, like, a really, really bad smell would make you want to vomit, but, like, to have perfume smell so strongly it makes you vomit, like, that has to be a very intense smell. Like the freaking cologne people at the mall. Like,
I was gonna say, I automatically thought of what's his nuts from Parks and Rec.
Tom Haverford.
Well, no, the cologne guy.
Oh, Dennis Feinstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god! And then when he makes Tommy Fresh, and it smells terrible. It probably smells like Tommy Fresh. So yeah, people like get overwhelmed and then puke because it's so strong. I'm like, that's terrifying.
Delicious.
Other guards in the tower report a terrible crushing sensation that suddenly descends upon them, but goes away as soon as they leave.
It's like on their chest?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Just feeling crushed.
Just some weight pressing down on you.
That's uncomfortable.
So one guard patrolling through the White Tower during an early morning winter storm suddenly got a strong sensation that a cloak had been thrown over his head, which then tightened around his neck as though something unseen were trying to strangle him. So
good Lord.
He like felt this phantom cloth basically. Like I can only imagine like when people go to kidnap people in movies and they throw the bag over their head, something like that, and then he felt it like wrap around his neck.
Oh.
Like it was trying to strangle him.
That's terrifying.
So thankfully he managed to get free, but when he got back to the guard house, I guess, guard room, he actually saw bright marks around his neck, like as though someone were actually trying to strangle him.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
That's scary. Stupid ghost.
It goes without saying there was not like an actual person there. It was a phantom force. Another guard named Arthur Crick was resting one night while making...
Arthur Crick.
Arthur Crick. That feels like the name of a guy out of like a Mark Twain book or something.
Yeah.
Like Arthur Crick.
Yep.
So he was resting one night while making his rounds when he heard a voice behind him whisper, "There's only you and I here."
Oh.
So he's in the middle of slipping off his shoe when he hears this voice, and he claims that he responded to the voice by saying, "Just let me get this bloody shoe on and there will only be you." And then pieces out. Like, let me get my shoe on and I'm gonna leave.
I ain't dealing with this shit.
Yeah, he's like, I don't deal with demon voices in my ear. I'm done. All right, the scaffold is where many historical figures were executed by being beheaded. So that is home to the ghost of Margaret Pole, Countess of Salisbury, which just makes me think of Salisbury steak, which is delicious. So she was executed for solely being the mother of Cardinal Pole. So Cardinal Pole had claimed that Henry VIII should not have been head of the Church of England, so Henry gets pissed and decides that he's going to kill the cardinal's mother as punishment. Fucking Game of Thrones shit. I'm seriously.
God.
So she was
ridiculous.
I know, it's so messed up. So she was executed on May 27th, 1541, and the story goes that when she was told to put her head down on the executioner block so they could behead her, she refused and said, "So should traitors do, and I am none." After which she attempted to run away, and the executioner literally had to chase her around with an axe until he hacked her to death.
Jesus!
Yep.
God!
And I'm pretty sure, I think it said she was 72, which actually seems really old for that time, doesn't it?
That seems real old.
I want to say I read that she was 72.
Holy crap.
Maybe that's wrong.
She's an old fart.
May have made that up, but... So she's running around, gets hacked to death, and
Good.
People report hearing her screams moving around the area as if she were still attempting to escape from her executioner. So they hear screams that kind of travel around the space. And a few visitors have even reported seeing the whole thing play out, where they can literally see her ghost running from
That's cool.
A ghostly executioner.
That's really cool.
That would be so freaking terrifying.
It would be terrifying, but awesome.
I would not be happy about that. If it were me, I'd be like, I'm gonna leave.
Bye.
Maybe get a little bit of it on camera and then run away.
Oh man.
Another famous ghost, Lady Jane Grey, was nicknamed the 9-Day Queen, and she has also been seen in the tower. So this was
she only queen for 9 days?
Yes. So good guess.
Oh man,
excellent
who
guess.
Thunk it?
So this got a little bit confusing. What I think happened is Edward VI, son of King Henry VIII, became King of England in 1547 and died in 1553 at age 15.
Oh.
Which means he was king at age 9 or something.
Good lord,
yeah.
Fuck that. I don't
know.
Want a king who's 9 years
old. I know,
old.
he's a little baby.
It's ridiculous.
So he died at 15, which is super young, and he was only king for a couple of years. So Jane Grey was his cousin, and she was proclaimed queen in 1553 after Edward died. But just before her coronation, I guess everyone decided they want to support a woman named Mary's claim to the throne, and I think Mary was Edward's half-sister.
Jesus Christ.
So his cousin gets basically said, you're gonna take over the throne, and then everyone at the last minute is actually, Edward's half-sister Mary should be queen. And then Jane gets accused of treason and executed because she had tried to take the throne for herself. Even though everyone said, you should be queen. And she's like, okay. And then after they change their minds, they're like, God, that's treasonous.
You can't do anything during those times, because if you do anything, it's going to piss one person off, and then you're just going to be executed.
You literally can't do anything.
No.
And you probably, if you do nothing, you'll get executed for treason for not supporting the claims.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Fuck.
So her father, who had supported her, was accused of treason also and executed as well. And then Jane was imprisoned in the Tower of London and executed for treason. So ever since her death, her ghost has been seen as a white shimmering figure that floats out of the river T-Hames. The river Thames, I think. And she strolls around the greens and battlements on the anniversary of her death, just like Henry.
Oh,
yeah.
You poor things.
Poor baby. So Anne Boleyn, who you mentioned was executed for treason in 1536, has been reported to haunt the Queen's house, which is the living quarters of the governor of the Tower. So she appears as a headless figure dressed in white who likes to terrorize the sentries and guards who patrol the area.
Oh, good.
So she's a nasty
you
bitch
go,
as a ghost.
You go.
She's bitter.
She's real pissed.
This is some bullshit.
Fucking husband goes after Jane and accuses me of adultery.
Right. Different Jane, though. Different Jane. That's Jane Seymour, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last famous place on our tour is the Bloody Tower.
Ooh.
So this is the site where the two princes you mentioned earlier, Richard and Edward, disappeared in 1483. So again, the assumption is they were murdered since two little boys' bodies were found in a box later. So the ghosts of the two young boys have been seen wearing white nightgowns in the Bloody Tower, holding each other as though they're terrified.
Oh, baby.
Probably knowing they're about to get murdered.
Oh, that's so sad.
When anyone attempts to approach them, the boys will move back towards the wall and kind of just disappear into the walls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know, and it just breaks my heart to think that they're just constantly terrified in death. Their ghosts are just scared
can't move
forever.
on.
That's a sad one.
Oh.
So, a couple of other famous ghosts and paranormal sightings. the ghost of Lord Guildford Dudley, who was the husband of Lady Jane Grey, so the one I just mentioned who got executed for trying to be queen. So her husband, his ghost has been seen in the Beauchamp Tower. Beauchamp.
Yeah.
He's been seen sitting and weeping in the cell where he was kept before his execution. The name Jane has also been etched into the wall there, and they believe his ghost is responsible.
Ooh.
So I don't know if the etching showed up before his death or after. I don't know. I suppose he could have carved it while he was in prison, but I don't know when it was first spotted.
Yeah.
But people think his ghost is responsible.
Huh.
So Sir Walter Raleigh, like you mentioned earlier, was executed for treason in the Tower, and afterwards his ghost started wandering around the Bloody Tower and has been reported to wander along the battlements in an area that's now referred to as Raleigh's Walk. So I have to imagine it's the walk that he probably took leading up to his execution.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, a famous place in the Tower now.
That makes sense.
He's been seen wandering on his walk that's named after him, which makes sense.
Poor guy.
Arbella Stewart, who was married to William Seymour, nephew of Lady Jane Grey. So everything goes back to freaking Lady Jane Grey. So her nephew was married to a woman named Arbella Stewart, who was also imprisoned in the Tower because she got married without the king's permission.
Dumb.
Yep.
Dumb.
Yep. So dumb.
Good lord.
And she was apparently seen as like a threat to the throne, so she was imprisoned and died in the Tower in 1615. I don't think she was executed. I think she was just imprisoned and she just died. Yeah. And some reports... Oh, yes, right. Okay, because some reports say that she had stopped eating and eventually starved, and some were saying that she was quietly murdered, so no one's really sure.
Everyone just gets murdered.
Everyone
is
fine. Murdered.
Just a murder fest.
Assume it's murder.
Pretty
no
much.
Death is natural.
Yes.
Her ghost has been seen haunting the Queen's house. In the 1980s, one guard was reading the newspaper in the Byward Tower, which we did not cover on our little paranormal tour, when suddenly next to the fireplace he noticed a pair of, quote, spindly, medieval-looking men smoking clay pipes.
What is this spindly man
It's like scrawny, skinny dude, twiggy arms, I'm imagining.
I'm just imagining like a little, like, spiral.
Oh, no, not like spinning.
Like, are they just, like, twirling in here? This is fun.
He's just going in a little circle.
Exciting.
That's hilarious. No, he was skinny and scrawny, I think. So one of the men by the fire smoking the pipe turned to stare right back at the guard, and then both of them vanished.
Interesting.
Don't know who they would be or why they were there, but...
probably just got murdered.
Probably, like everybody else. Yep. They were probably executed for smoking their pipes.
Exactly.
Inappropriately.
Yep.
Okay, so this is my favorite part of the whole freaking thing, because you mentioned the menagerie where all the animals were kept. So apparently, the spirits of animals that were kept there have been heard over the years, including the phantom calls and screams of monkeys, lions, and horses.
What?
So just like animal calls.
That's so weird.
From animals that don't actually live there.
That's cool.
So this is the craziest story I've ever heard in my whole life. So a guard working at the tower once claimed that a spectral grizzly bear charged at him.
Oh gosh.
So he like lifts up his bayonet, attempts to stab it, and the bear passes through him. So it's like just a ghost. He can't actually stab it because it's not physical. It literally passes through his body and then disappears.
That's terrifying.
And what's even more terrifying is after that happened, he was unable to physically feel anything and had to be carried to his quarters, where he died 2 days later.
Oh, shit!
Yeah. Fucking ghost bear killed him.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I've never heard anything like that before.
I know, like ghost animal. I guess we talked a little bit about ghost cats.
But not like a grizzly bear charging at you and then you just die.
And like literally like paralyzed him.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, they said he became insensate, which I had to look up, and apparently it just means you can't like sense you can't feel anything.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yes, and then he died. I was like,
well, don't get attacked by grizzly bears,
don't piss off a grizzly bear.
Is it storming?
It's lightning.
Is it raining?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Yay, we don't have to water the garden.
Oh, that's exciting.
Hooray. Okay, and then lastly, this isn't necessarily paranormal, but I did think it was interesting, and it's a really famous story that has to do with the tower. So there's an old prophecy that says that if the ravens who roost at the tower ever leave, the whole monarchy will fall. Oh my god. As thunder crashes in the background. That was perfect.
So scary.
So spooky. So the ravens actually are protected by royal decree because of the prophecy, and they get their wings clipped to prevent them from flying away.
Well, that's just...
So they, like, freaking make it happen. They're like,
can't do that.
No, you can't fly, and if you can't fly, then you can't leave, so sweet.
No.
What this is also cool is there's 7 of them living at the tower today and are cared for by a dedicated raven master. That is his full-time job.
I want to be a raven master.
Seriously.
You know how cool ravens are?
Yes, and to, like, have that be your full-time job is to take care of the 7 ravens that live in the freaking Tower of London. I'm like, that's so cool. I love it.
I want that job.
I know.
Shit.
Me too. They said his name. I didn't write it down.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to say my other sources were authenticvacations.com, hrp.org.uk, and home.bt.com.
Oh, my.
There you have it.
I just had Wikipedia.
Thanks, Wikipedia.
Yep. Man, so that's the Tower of London for you, friends.
I knew there was, like, some good amount of ghosts there, which is why I suggested this place. And, like, oh, yeah, there should be some good stuff. I didn't know there was, like, freaking 49 ghosts. But I guess it makes sense if, like, everyone and their mother was executed there.
Right.
So.
And so much history to it, too.
Such history. And, yeah, I mean, it being a prison for so long, we know that prisons are always haunted.
Always haunted.
Always.
It's perfect.
It's guaranteed.
Yes. You guys.
We have a story!
I'm so excited! Gosh!
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Okay, so this comes from, her name is Caitlin. I've been chatting with her on the Instagram
Thanks,
for
Caitlin.
a while.
Thank you.
And I don't know how we got on the topic of paranormal stuff. I told her about the podcast. She's like, yeah, paranormal things used to happen to me all the time when I was little. I was like, do you want to share some stories with me?
Please,
that'd be so great.
Anna's trying not to, like, pee her pants with excitement.
Pretty much. So it's super exciting because she said that she stayed at the Palmer House.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
We should have her on as, like, a guest star.
Pretty much. So I asked her, I was like, oh my god, did you actually stay at the Palmer House? And she's like, yes, we did. It was a few years back now. So she said that they did have some interesting experience. She said that in one of the rooms, she was sitting on the bed, and her friend was taking pictures, and she swears that she felt something or someone going up her leg, and in each photo, you can see a big orb going higher and higher up her leg.
Oh, so she felt it and they saw it in the pictures?
Yep. Yep, they saw the orbs.
That can't be, like, just, like, dust in a picture, then. That can't be.
No. Especially if you have that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So she said she doesn't have the pictures anymore, but they were on her phone, because her and her friend just kind of fell out of touch. But they also heard voices on recordings, but only when Caitlin spoke. And it sounded like someone was saying her name. And they also took photos in the lobby at night, and there were slight figures as well.
No.
So I don't know if it's like misty figures or like apparitions or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's creepy.
Oh, gosh.
That's so cool that she stayed there.
Yep.
I love it.
So then she said, weirdly though, once they left the hotel, she said that they left in the middle of the night because they got freaked out from what sounded like someone outside of their room.
So they just, like, pieced out?
Yeah. So then her personal story when she was younger, so to kind of set the scene, she sent me a picture of what it looked like the old headboards. So picture, like, a big headboard with 2, like, storage bins on the side of the bed.
Like closet, wardrobe-y type things on the side, yep.
And then behind it is littler storage bins with, like, a mirror on the back.
Yeah, guys, don't ever put a freaking mirror behind your bed.
No.
Like, that's just asking for scary shit to happen.
Yep, exactly.
And every time I'd, like, go to get in my bed, I'd see my own reflection and, like, shit my pants. Like, oh my god,
there's someone behind me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read this as what she sent me. So, when I was around the age of 6, my family and I lived in some apartments that were on the older side. It was just my parents and brothers, so we didn't need much space. To set the scene, the
bed you described.
The bed I just described.
Yep.
And had the mirrors. And so across the hall from the room was the bathroom. And the doors almost perfectly lined up so you could see into their room from the bathroom.
Oh my god. Are you going to, like, see a reflection of something in the bathroom from the freaking bed mirrors? I spoiled it entirely.
So, TMI, but I was going to the bathroom with the door open, just playing with shampoo bottles on the sink next to the toilet when I peered in my parents' room because I saw movement out of the corner of my eyes. As I looked at the mirrors, I saw the back of a little girl with red long hair and a half ponytail sitting on the edge of the bed bouncing.
That is so specific.
Yup. I freaked out and ran into the living room screaming to my mom. A little girl was in our room, and when she checked, nothing was there. 15 plus years later, I re-mentioned the story to my mom. She finally admitted on another occasion she saw the same little girl and went up to her thinking it was me, also redhead, then disappeared. Looking back, I attribute this to my first paranormal experience.
That is so crazy that her mom saw the same freaking girl.
Right?
And, like, specific enough to say she was a redhead with a ponytail, not just, like, I saw a smudgy shadow figure.
No, like
I saw a
very
freaking
specific
person.
And just, like, sitting there bouncing on the end of the bed like, oh my god, this is so fun!
I hope she's a nice little ghost girl.
Fuck. That's terrifying.
That's very terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Caitlin.
Yes, thank you, Caitlin.
That's great.
I love these stories.
Me too. I love it
Send
so much.
them in.
Wow, Anna's mad.
To nightmarenation19@gmail.com, please.
Or check us out on Facebook at nightmare_nation19.
Or check us out on the Instagram, nightmare.nation19.
Leave us a review, give us a rating, subscribe, and please send in your stories if anything scary has ever happened to you or anyone you know. Anything unexplained.
If you know a murderer, you're related to a murderer, or something crazy happened, it doesn't have to be paranormal. It can just be something cool.
Have you been to the Tower of London?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Exactly.
Did you experience hands pushing you down the stairs?
Tell us about it.
Let us know.
We want to know, okay?
Also, feel free to send in suggestions of places you'd like to hear
Yes,
covered.
because those are our favorite.
Yes, and then we know we're talking about things that you guys are interested in hearing about.
Exactly.
So send them in.
Do it.
Hit us up.
Please. Thank you.
Until next time,
Stay safe.
don't use
An Ouija board.
Ouija board.
Ouija board.
Never use Ouija boards. Don't be
Don't
stupid.
do it.
Stop.
It'll be the dumbest decision of your
Quit
life.
it. Don't
God.
summon demons into your life. There's enough pain and shit going on as it is.
Don't have seances either.
Yeah, don't.
Okay?
But if you have done one, please tell us about
Yes.
it. Yes.
Because obviously you're not dead from it, so.
Hopefully.
Unless
Unless you're a ghost sending us an email.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That actually would be cool. If you're a ghost,
Ghost
send us an
emails.
email.
All right.
All right.
Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.